initial phone conversation moved to the internet, and from the internet it moved to a live forums and panels. And that was in 2005, and we've been having these ever since. We've been in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, we've been on cable, we've been on the radio, and now the Flow is working on a relationship book. Now, the Flow started as three guys talking about relationships. From that dialogue that was initiated by three men, the Flow has evolved into something beyond this. We call the Flow a process, an exploration of the fiction to the fore. We have Bill Holmes, who is an Essence best-selling author and poet. We have Victoria Wells, and she has her book. What is your book again? A Special Summer. And we're waiting for Donna Hill, who is another Essence best-selling author. Where are you, Donna?
Can y'all hear me real good? Y'all hear me out there in the back? Hold on. How's that? All right. Before I begin, I want to give thanks and praise to God for all blessings and bestow, and to the Flow panel and Chuck and Garland for having us here tonight. And we're doing Visions of Love. And I want to open up with this poem that kind of touches on that a little bit. And it's one of my personal favorites. It's called Mystique. Could I be the sunlight that shines on your face, my dear sweet sister, surrounding your cheeks with a golden glow as you stare outside the window with those brown eyes that burst with brilliance, engaged in deep meditation within your silent sanctuary. Because there are some places that a brother is forbidden to enter, and there are some things a brother does not know. If I could have one wish, I wish I could enter that place that I find most attractive about you, lying within the center of your imagination, where your ideas and your aspirations are molded, sculpted, and transformed into your dreams and reflections that encompass the essence of a true, strong, intelligent, self-sufficient, tenacious African goddess that defines you best. From the way you style your hair, to the clothes that you wear, right down to the pride and the positive attitude you project, because you are a gift from the Creator to be worshipped and adored. For your love, it is truly precious. And if I could have one chance, I would love to have the chance to hold your soft hand and to let your thoughts flow from your receptive fingertips into mine, sending pulsating rhythms dancing and prancing throughout my body, opening my soul to respect your emotions, to appreciate your compassions, to understand your heartaches when we look into each other's eyes and cherish the beauty of silence. Listening to the sounds of unspoken words and unsung songs while inhaling every breath we take. Could I be the sunlight that shines on your face, my dear sweet sister, surrounding your cheeks with a golden glow as you stare outside the window with those brown eyes that burst with brilliance, engaged in deep meditation within your silent sanctuary. Because there are some places that a brother wants to enter, and there are some things a brother needs to know. So please, don't keep me waiting. Thank you.
Their depiction in contemporary media. For many of us, our concepts of love and relationships have been influenced by what we have seen, heard, or read. How many of us have modeled their relationships based on real-life examples? I mean, I've met, in our Flow forums, I've met many people that said they definitely didn't want to have a relationship like their mother and father had. Okay? So, how many of us have really modeled it after real-life examples? But on the other hand, how many of us have been touched by what we've seen and read and given you insight into the nature of our relationships? How much of our relationships are life imitating art, or is it art imitating life? Now, our authors have crafted a unique vision of love and relationship questions by Chuck and Garland. And we don't have a lot of time, and this is granted in an hour, this topic is not going to be covered in any great depth. So we're going to kind of flow between the authors and the audience and the moderators. Okay? So the first question that I'm going to direct, and I'm going to direct it towards Zane. Do you feel that your work bridges the gap between the romantic expectations of relationships and reality that many of us live?
Sorry, can you hear me? I'm going to assume what you're asking me is, do you think that my books help to enhance people's romantic relationships? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I mean, do they bridge the gap between fantasy and reality?
Yes, they do. Because
I mean, how do they add to the reality of our lives?
A lot of the characters in my book, the women in my books, are the type of women a lot of us would be if we could throw caution to the wind and if we could do what we really think about doing. And it's understandable that a lot of women do have two sides to them. They have the side that they feel that society feels is acceptable, and then there's the side of them that they don't always explore because they fear judgment and retribution. So in that respect, I definitely feel that the women in my books are liberated and empowered, not just sexually, but in life itself, and that it does help some women step outside. In fact, I know for a fact, it helps a lot of women step outside of certain boundaries that they thought they had to stay within.
So would you characterize your work as speaking to how you see how liberated women should be?
Absolutely, I definitely do.
Okay, Victoria. Now, I mean, your books are very different from what Zane writes, but still you are characterizing a relationship between men and women, romantic relationships. Now, how much of that is art? How much is that of life? And where do you draw that from? Is this autobiographical in your work, or are you presenting some ideal in terms of what you want to project?
I guess I would have to say maybe it's a little bit...
Speaking.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. I would have to say it's a mixture of a little bit of both. I certainly drew from the romantic part of my book from my own personal life. I've been married for 22 years. So from that...
Don't look that old.
I am. So from that aspect of my romance novel, I drew that. Also, I would say it's artistic and creative and kind of fantasy, just trying to, meet what others' expectation of what romantic love is.
Okay, Bill, I'm going to throw something a little different at you. As a male writing books about love and relationships, are you putting forth an idealized concept of what you think, how men should operate in relationships, how women should operate in relationships, or this is just your own unique vision coming out of your own experiences?
Wow. I would say I wanted to for the novel One Love, like I wanted to create a character, Chris, whereas you have a positive black man who's a good black man that sometimes I hear a lot of criticism that black men are dogged in books and this and that, and I just created the character who was just based on people who I knew, a little bit of myself in there as well, a bit of my experiences in there with the character, just incorporating things that I've seen and observed, and just always trying to stay true to who I am as a writer, and also true and honest relationship with my audience.
So what are you really saying to men and women about relationships in your work?
As far as it's a beautiful thing, it's positive, it's a lot of work that's involved in it. in terms of relationships. We all come into relationships with problems, baggage, but more or less it's like before you can really love somebody, you have to really love yourself as a person. And that was one of the main goals of the book. Originally it was titled Love Always, because, well, that title was already taken, but really the theme is really love yourself and be who you are, because it begins with you. How can you expect to love somebody when you can't love yourself in the beginning?
Okay, Chuck is going to ask the next question.
I feel a need to be fair and balanced in terms of describing genders, in terms of positive and negative in your work, or is it not a concern of yours?
Well, I can go first and answer that, absolutely. In all of my novels, I have good men, I have good women, and I have bad men, and I have bad women. I believe that that's how life is itself. So I have a ton of positive male figures in my books. In fact, women are like, well, where can I find mine? Where can I find my Yardley? Or where can I find my Jerry? But at the same time, sometimes it depends on the type of book that I'm writing as well, because I write different types of books. Like one book I'm doing is called There's a Pit Bull in My Bed. So with that one, it's really a joke. But I mean, with that one, that was going to tend to, you know, bash men a little bit. But at the same time, it's a serious message behind the book, as it always is in my books, that will hopefully let women, once they see these men in this book, really evaluate their own relationships and figure out what exactly it is that they're tolerating, and just really shine a bright light on it.
Well, since A Special Summer is my debut novel, I only have one book to draw on. But pretty much, yeah, I did kind of go for that balance between depicting the men and the women, you know, their good points and their bad points, just to show, I mean, realistically, we're all flawed. We all have good points to us. We all have points, you know, that aren't so nice. So, you know, and in the future, as I write more books, I think it's really important to portray that, you know, that life and individuals just really aren't what it seems. You can, you know, see someone and they, you know, they present one way, but when you really get to know that person, you know, it's totally, you know, like no matter what, a horse of a different color. So yeah, that's something, you know, that I'm trying to strive for in writing further novels.
Just like Zane and Victoria, I too strive for balance in the books. For me personally, it was a challenge for me because One Love was my first novel as well. And as a male writer, one of my challenges is to make my female characters as believable as possible, because you can write something from a male perspective, but it can't be, you can tell it's a male writer. Or with the character, my main character, Regina, I went through everything, just like getting feedback from other people that I knew personally, working with individuals in my writing groups, just more or less like also eavesdropping in on a few conversations with women, how they relate to each other, body language, really, and just try to make it as believable as possible. Going forward, definitely try to keep that balance in mind in terms of males and female relationships.
Thank you.
New Mexico and Colorado and Nevada, which are one-day trips or what have you, where we have candidates and where they're states that can swing either way in the presidential election. And I will also most likely be doing New York, some people in New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Indiana, because believe it or not, I play very well in conservative areas, I play very well with women, I play very well with Latinos. I mean, I'm the ranking woman on all military issues in the Congress and the vice chairman of the Homeland Security Committee. And I sit on the Joint Economic Committee. That's a committee of one of the few committees where both senators and House members are on. So every day that I go to work, I work on war, terrorism, and deficits. It's a very unusual portfolio for a woman to carry in the Congress. So I will be campaigning. And in particular, I love to go and campaign for women. Because I think more women in the Congress is a much better America, quite frankly.
Yay! Any questions? Congresswoman, I actually have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The background, yes, 75% assemblies, and you as a politician. What made you decide specifically you to go into politics?
What made me go into politics? Well, I have there are 7 of us in our family. My parents are both immigrants from Mexico with very little education. Sacrificed, it's in the book, sacrificed, sent their kids to university, graduated them, were doctors and lawyers, and 2 congresswomen, first 2 ever, related to each other in the Congress. But what made me go into politics? I'm not political at all, quite frankly. I mean, not in the true sense of following politics. So I really understand the general voter, if you will, because I was a general voter. I would show up and I would vote because it was my civic duty, and because I love this country. My parents instilled that in all of us. But when I would look at the ballot, it would be like, do I know anybody on it? Do I recognize the name? Do I know anything about them? Is it a woman? Is it a Hispanic? I mean, no, yeah, I mean, I would vote the way most normal people do. Why? Because you all have things going on in your lives. You have real lives going on, So I was not political at all. Somebody asked me just a few minutes ago, what did you think of the debates? Did you ask me, what did you think of the debates, and what did I say?
Didn't watch it.
I didn't watch them. That's how when I go home, I'm not political. So what made me run? I was working on an education issue. I was actually an investment banker. One of those people who made a lot of money in finance. And I had a lot of time on my hands because of that. I went to my mother and I said, Mom, what should I do in my spare time? And she said, I think you should go to the schools where you graduated from in Anaheim, and you should see what skill set the kids need so they can be as successful as you have been, and help them to get that. So I went to the junior high and the high school where I went to school, and I started putting in math and science programs, summer schools, mentoring programs with friends that had, and it was making a big difference in those schools. But there were 25 other schools that belonged in that school district in Anaheim. So I went to the school board and I said to them, I'd like to help you put these programs in the rest of your schools, and I'll raise the money. Because I'm good at raising money. That's one of the things that makes me a good Democrat. And I'm like the number 4 fundraiser for all Democrats in the nation, And money talks in politics. Don't think it doesn't. And they said, oh no, we don't want to change. We don't want to change the way it is. It's so much work. And so then I went to the mayor of Anaheim, who was a friend I'd gone to school with, and he said, well, that's not our jurisdiction. We don't deal with that. And then I went to my member of Congress, who happened to be Bob Dornan. I don't know if any of you recall that. And he refused to meet with me. And when he refused to meet with me, I went home and I said to my husband, I'm going to run for Congress. And that's how I got into politics.